How you doing? www.andrewmarkmusic.com on the great crash of the year 2030. This is not prophecy. This is reasonable speculation. It's premised on cycles, repeating patterns. I would even say impulsive subconscious behavior that just has to continually act itself out over and over and over again to the detriment of many people. It's also willful blindness. It's going to be brought on by the combination of arrogance and ignorance. It's being brought on by 100 years of propaganda. It's being brought on by the effect of that propaganda is a mass culture of narcissism. So these are all contributing to what's going to happen in 2030. And plus, I believe this is also tied into the nature of reality, and that the modern worldview of atheism is ultimately incorrect. Although I am sympathetic to certain arguments within the atheist worldview, I believe it will be proven incorrect by circumstances that will unfold shortly. So, the year 2030, a huge market crash. This will be the effect of the cause, which is the same cause that created previous crashes, which is no regulation, which was the plutocrats and the oligarchs saying, hey, there's nothing better for the earth than what we want and our policies, and we don't need regulation. You know, we are the mafia and we can do whatever we want, and don't question us because you can trust the mafia to do right by you. Okay, so this was what crashed the economy in the early part of the 20th century. It's what crashed the 2008, although I think that was, my own personal belief, 2008 is a lot of that was just orchestration. It was theater for the masses, and in this theater, a lot of people get hurt, you know. There's no doubt about there's going to be a lot of carnage in 2030. But the main point is that 2030 will happen, the great crash will happen because of everything the Republicans in Congress are doing now, which is the same old, of let the mafia run civilization, and you don't need to call us names, and you don't need to, analyze what we do. Just play the casino that we've created and shut up. Well, fine. Most people are shutting up and they're just happy to click, or whatever device that the mafia is selling them now. But there's other people who are kind of a pain in the ass. I think Jesus was one of them. He was a pain in the ass, definitely. He was not too fond of religious people, and he was not too fond of the state. So he didn't seem all that fond of religion and politics to me, and neither am I. I'm really not that fond of them either. So I can be sympathetic towards him, and he actually shares similar views to what I share as far as the nature of the tradition that he came from. There's something very wrong with it. Anyway, that's really not a part of this discussion, and I understand that is a matter of perspective, so fine. The nature of reality will only be revealed by the ultimate truth, and until that time, all we have is our own speculations and bubbles and personal beliefs about this or that. So we have utter devastation to about 70 to 80% of Europe and North America, just wiped out by the market crash in 2030. Massive unemployment, absolute chaos will exist here. Anybody that had marginal wealth will be wiped out. And all that wealth will continue to be sucked back into the plutocrats like they've always done. They use this boom-bust cycle to just siphon wealth into their pockets. This is fact. This is historical fact that this is what's happened, and this was what will happen again. Now, why they do this, again, goes to metaphysics, but okay, that's not really what this video is about. I think by now you're probably getting my metaphysics on the issue. Now, the countries that may survive this to some degree are countries that have already sort of, like Japan might be able to, countries that are insulated from the global economy as much as possible, and have a, you know, an ethnic homogeny where it's just, you know, one person, one type of people, and they sort of, in other words, the multicultural hell that's been created in Europe and North America will lead to more chaos than it would if these cultures were left to their own type of people. So there are a few countries that may withstand it. Maybe Iceland will be able to withstand some of the worst of the devastation. Now, this is not happening, in my opinion. This won't happen just out of sheer randomness, as the Darwinists would like us to believe. That this is just another, oh well, just another crash, another 80% of the people lost all their money. This is leading to something, okay? This is going to set up the conditions for the Noahide laws, okay? So this bizarre story that's spanning millennia, right? And that's at the forefront of civilization today. And no, the Inuit people are not at the forefront of civilization today. I'm sorry, they're just not, and neither are the Aboriginal people. No, the people at the forefront of society are the people that make deals with the demiurge, okay? Now, there's no reasonable explanation why these two groups of people and the third off group, the Christians, should have this much say. These tribal people should have this much say in a scientific, materialistic universe spanning millennia. This is just far more than coincidence. So the Messiah, this Israeli Messiah must come. There's nothing anybody can do to stop it. He will show up, and the conditions will be met where right now millions and millions, hundreds of millions of Muslims in the Western world will accept secularism, right? But push comes to shove, under stress, right? Under the stress of massive hardship, will they accept the Noahide laws? Yes, they will. The Muslims will, in the Western world, will capitulate to the Noahide laws, as will Christians that are suffering will capitulate to the Noahide laws. The Messiah will be able to convince people to accept his rule. All right. Now, how this plays out in the Far East, it's a little bit more dodgy. There's going to be much more grumbling about this in the Far East. Now, whether that ends up being an attack on Israel, that's certainly a possibility, you know. But I don't think anything is preordained here in the way that traditional religion espouses. This is a crapshoot, man. I'm using the casino. Now I'm using the casino metaphors. Oh, they must be loving this. Okay. Roll the dice. Anyway, so the Messiah will show up. My guess would be between, 2030 and 2050. And at that point, humanity is going to find out whether the Judaic Messiah is the real deal. You know, now this to me is very interesting, because we will actually finally get to find out whether the Jewish Messiah is the real deal, the one they've been waiting for millennia. And if no other God challenges this Judaic Messiah, then we will all have to live by God's rule, this Messiah's rule. Now, obviously, within Christendom, they're going to be going, wait a minute, you're not really the Messiah, you're a false Messiah, right? But there's no Christian who's going to be able to prove this. That it's going to take another God, the real Messiah, to put this false Messiah out. And no Christian can say anything about this. You could go on for millennia, and has gone on for millennia, and it's really going to be, if no other God comes and challenges this God's rule, then we will have to all admit that the Judaic religion was the truth, and this Messiah is the emissary of that truth. And I'm fine to do that. I think anybody would be insane not to, because the truth has come. Now, how this would play out from an Islamic perspective, you know, because they're waiting for their Messiah too. So this Judaic Messiah is also going to have to be challenged from the Islamic Messiah's perspective. And if he doesn't show up, then they will again have to capitulate to the Judaic Messiah. But then there's the Gnostic view on it too, and it's the view that I hold, that there's something about this whole scenario that hasn't been revealed. It's been obscured. We don't really know what's going to happen here. So, although I'm completely convinced that it's going to happen, the events of it, how it's going to unfold, I have no idea, but I don't think we can find that out through traditional religion. So, you know, it's just going to be quite interesting. But before any of the religious aspect of it goes on, there will be the utter chaos and devastation of the result of the casino model of this past civilization of the last 100 years. It was implemented through mass propaganda, just the greatest onslaught of mind control in the history of the universe happened on this planet in 100 years to set up the consent to have this happen. But even with all of that, mind control, there's still billions and billions of people that don't accept it. I'm one of them. I don't accept the casino system that they've set up. And there's millions more people like me, and billions more if you factor into the religious people who are sort of just gone along with it because some of the atheist arguments are very, very, coherent and worthy of consideration. But the thing with atheism is it just can't know that God does or doesn't exist, and science can't tell you whether God doesn't exist or not. So they're lying in that pretext. Everything I'm saying is completely consistent with a scientific worldview. It's just that God's going to pop in, and yes, I mean, this is going to be something else. A lot of people are just going to be absolutely floored. Richard Dawkins, at least, if he's still alive when this happens. So you have this situation where the culture has become, through all this processing of manipulation of propaganda, it's become amoral. Okay, the only way that they could have installed this system is to have a system of amorality, and that's closely linked to nihilism, the culture of nihilism, and that's also closely linked to the culture of narcissism that's created. This idea of self-entitlement, that I'm just entitled to everything that the mafia says that I should have, And when I say the word mafia, I mean legal mafia. Although the illegal mafias are certainly there, the far more dangerous mafias are the ones that became legitimate. Okay, and I mean, I believe this will become historical fact. Now, did any of this have to happen? In my opinion, no. None of this was preordained. Everybody could have made better choices, right? You know, there was no need to have this happen. But I think there's this obsession on the deepest levels of humanity that will, you know, in traditional culture, it's called the shadow, that will compel this to happen. So anyway, how this all ends up, if we look at it and say, okay, none of the religious things happen, and that's just my own, you know, projection, my own imagination, I believe the crash will happen, definitely. And then, you know, if there's no religious component to it, then what happens afterwards, who knows? I mean, whether civilization can recover from a crash in 2030 with the complexities involved in it, who knows? It would probably lead to World War III, more devastation. If anything can survive that, what would come out of it? Would human beings become more enlightened? You know, is the only way that human beings can become decent human beings is through just utter tragedy? I mean, to me, that's just a shocking, you know, condition if that's true. The other thing that's leading to this, just before I wrap this up, is the modern atheism brought on in large part by the Israelis, the Zionists, and their view that we'll have no God other than, you know, the one that truly exists. That's created two streams of behavior on this planet. It's created the social Darwinism of the oligarchy and the plutocracy, and then it's created the conditions for the individuals, the power men to rise up, like Putin and Mussolini and all these guys who just use Darwinism in all the wrong ways, and I believe delusional ways, but nevertheless, it's easy to misconstrue Darwinism and have these two streams flow together in the next 20 years and you know, the concomitant disasters that are going to happen. What would I do if I could in the next 30 years? First thing I'd do is I'd get out of the cities. Okay, any money I had, I would get into the country and sort of become as self-sufficient as possible. I would learn firearms. I'd learn to protect myself with firearms. Not that this is going to help, but you have at least some chance then of not being the brunt of all this disaster that's coming. So that would be my advice to anybody: is just to get yourself, the great irony here is the only people that can really do that are people with money. So, and they're doing it. As far as I know, they're buying huge swaths of land out in the middle of nowhere, because I think they know what's coming. So you should copy them. You should copy the Bill Gates and the Facebook guy. I don't even want to say his name. He's such an asshole. And go buy some land somewhere and start to try and, get yourself in the position where you don't have to take the brunt of this, because it's going to be ugly. And I'm certainly not looking forward to it. I mean, at that point, if I'm right in the projection, I probably am about 12, 15 years away. I mean, it's going to be tough on me. I'm not looking forward to this. Anyway, www.andrewmarkmusic on the great crash of 2030. And the reason they'll call it great is because the victors will write the history, and to them it is a great thing, because more of the money of the earth will be sucked into their pockets, and the more and more people will be devastated and bankrupt and broken. And this is the system you bought into. Good luck with it.
Harmful lies and shameful deeds. envious eyes shooting daggers at me. A life of torment, a life of lies, abandoned ship and watch my spirit rise. It's all a show. Take my hands and you'll know there's fire in the night skies. The vicious circle turns underneath the blood red moon. A shot of fire burns. Fire in the night skies. The vicious circle turns. And I don't have faith in the A cry for help, she's a tortured soul. Countless critics blind and dead cold. Absolve the judgments, absolve the need. The search itself is motivating enough.